Hey y'all, Royce here, doing another flag just a little different way. I have a lot of different methods that I do these, uh, so I figured I'd show you this one. With this style, I'm dimensioning everything separately, gluing up the field, dropping a couple boards, and then gluing everything separately together because this is going to have a lot more detail. Please like and subscribe. My channel is really growing. It's really taking off, and I'm really enjoying seeing all that growth. So if you want me to make more videos, please hit the buttons and tell your friends about me. Maybe put up a billboard on the highway. I don't know. Something. Let's keep it going. So in about 20 seconds, I'm going to show you all the dimensions that I'm cutting. I'll demystify it. Basically, I have a plan. I came up with the length of 35 while talking to my client, and everything else is real easy after you have that one dimension, because if you use this calculator I have, I'll show it also in a second, it plugs in all the numbers and makes things super simple. And it's a dimensionally correct flag. That's not the calculator, but that is the numbers. I'll put these dimensions down below as well as on my website. Uh, One of the things I really like, there's the calculator. Um, Having dimensionally incorrect flags really irk me when I see them on Etsy or something like that, checking out my competitors. Uh, like, it's not hard to come up with the right dimensions to make a flag actually look correct. So here, one of those little details I was talking about before was that I put a chamfer on each one of the stripes and then around the field. It adds just this neat little reflection when the light is hitting the flag in the right way. And I guess I failed to mention that is a 45-degree chamfer bit. It's just that little extra that my clients really like. If you happen to be checking out my router table, this is a Rockler phenoloic, I believe it is, but I would definitely get the steel one if I had the ability to do it over again. And then the Pro Lift, bro, I don't know what's wrong with that thing, but it doesn't lock. So I might go with a different brand, maybe like Woodpecker or something. So here I am. I'm just taping up all the sides because when I finish this thing, when I put it all together, each one of the stripes will be glued together. And if I have any type of uh, paint or stain on there, I'm worried that the glue is just not going to work quite right. So I took that extra time and, you know, taped it up. When you're doing a really special flag like this one, I think that extra time it takes you and the extra, tape is well covered in the costs. Diving into Vectric VCarve Pro, I'm just doing my setup. This is the field, and it's 14 by 9 and 15 sixteenths. And then the thickness really doesn't matter, but it's about 1.5 inches. I have 1 1/4 there, but it doesn't matter. Not cutting all the way through it, so the thickness doesn't matter. And then I'm going to post this file, and it says 5 tool unions. I've had this thing for a long time. Normally, I let y'all see in the comments, who I got it from. I don't remember. So it says 5 tool unions. So I'm guessing that's who it's from. Threw it on there. It happened to be the right size. This is not the first time I've made a flag like this. So I just centered it. Okay. Obviously letting my brain reboot right here, but I'm going to post in the next file. It's from Badge Wizard on Etsy. I buy a lot of files on Etsy. It just saves a lot of time. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, I'm going to make my own file." Well, if you're doing, several jobs a week, um, creating files like this takes too long. So I just resized it, and we're going to throw it in the middle there, and then center. And that gets everything laid out. Now, obviously, we have the problem of all these extra stars. So I was thinking about turning off a layer, but I decided against it. So I'm just going back in and selecting each star, pressing Control and selecting allows you to get more than one. Shift would allow you to grab multiple, but you'd also be grabbing, you know, like the Secret Service badge. You don't want that. So we're just going to go in here and get all the stars that are in our way, kind of figure out what looks good, and then delete. Delete. There you go. I'm a little slow sometimes if y'all haven't figured that out. So now I am going to go and deselect the stars so I can grab my Secret Service badge, and then I'm going to group that and then turn back on the stars. That's going to allow me to adjust the size of the badge without worrying about, hitting the stars or anything like that. I could do it with resize, um, if I knew the exact dimension I wanted, but just using the little slider is probably a little more beneficial. You'll notice in between this file and the file that's about to pop up, they're a little different. That's because this was just for the video. See how it's a little smaller. So we're going to go ahead and grab all the stars. If you're wondering how I do that, it's that fast. It's actually magic. Maybe I'm going to grab them. What is going on here? Ah, here we go. Grab all the stars. Again, just using control and clicking on them so we can start programming our VCarve toolpath. I have the start depth at 0 and then the flat depth at 0.4. And I'm using the Monotools RC45711. It is a 45 degree and it works great for stars. It is my favorite for stars, for sure. So here we are, checking it out. My mouse clicker wasn't working quite right, so I wanted to turn it and it wouldn't. So that's our preview. Looks really good to me. So I'm going to go back in and just change the name. When you start working with tons of files, it is really good to be very specific. I sound like a broken record, but I always do what I'm doing, what type of bit, and the depth of cut that I'm doing. Jumping over to the badge, we're going to go ahead and hop into that. I did go in and remove some lines uh, on this file, but I'm not going to really show you all that. It's just inconsequential. You got to figure out what you like. And I also think the chances of somebody watching this tutorial for a Secret Service badge is pretty low. So the difference here is I'm using a different bit, two different bits, and I'm only going 0.1. So this is the Amana Tools 45626K, which you can see, and it's just a smaller version. I find it very helpful for the small detail work that the larger 45 can't do. So select the vector. I'm also using a clearance tool, which is a 1/8 down cut, but it's not significant. And that's the preview. Everything is going to look different depending on how you select the vectors and stuff. This was not my final choice. I decided to go very basic, which you'll see, and then rename everything and throw in the stars in there, see how it's going to look. Looks good. That's really it for the programming. We're going to go over here and look at how long it takes, the summary. So about 22 minutes total, and save it. I always do multiple files. And then on this, I put something simple. So SSF, Secret Service flag, because when that saves, it'll be a header, it'll be a prefix. And this is just me cutting it out. Something I do a lot on VCarves is I'll run the file twice. It just cleans up the edges just ever so slightly more. It really reduces the sanding or anything like that that you would have. And obviously on a project like this, you really don't want to be sanding. And in with the larger 45-bit. I think this is really the ticket. This is the right bit. I think it's the RC45711 that I told you before, but it's the right size for doing most uh, field star flags, whatever you want to say. All the other, you don't want to do 60 or 90 or any craziness. The 45 and the larger format is really the best. So, and this is pre-glued, but that's what it'll look like. And we're going into the name stripe. This is on the blue stripe. Special points if you know who Special Agent Frank Horrigan is. It's obviously not the name of my client. So here I did an offset, and it was really just for me to figure out the spacing and the size of the letters. Because I have that chamfer on each board, I went ahead and did an offset inward so I could kind of see more what it would look like. And obviously, it didn't make much of a difference. You can barely see it there. I'll zoom in. So you can see where that chamfer would show. And of course, you wouldn't want your letters to hit that. So I went ahead and deleted that. Go over to the letters or text and select it. And really, it's just making sure it's centered both vertically and horizontally, and then the right font size that you want. I didn't have to do much with this. And then Times New Roman looks really good, VCarve, so it was pretty simple. come over here to the toolpaths, and I've already made it, but select it. I'll show you. For the flat depth, I went with 0.05. And again, there's that bit that I'm using. No clearance tools. Everything else is easy. VCarve, if you're looking for a place to start on CNC work, VCarve makes it pretty simple. So it's not a bad place to start fooling around with CNC. And we'll go ahead and show you the CNC cutting right about here. And I'm zoomed in again. I'm trying to protect my client's privacy just a little bit. I actually don't even know if he would care, but I know with my experiences in the military, I didn't like my name being out there. So zoomed it in so you can't see. I know this is a little out of focus, but you can see that the settings that I did there were perfect. And we'll go ahead and go back into the date, which is on one of the dark stripes. And it's the exact same thing, didn't change anything except, and we won't be there for a while, but the depth of cut. So hop in here and you'll see that I just ever so slightly changed the flat depth. And that's really just because the numbers are like capitalized letters in this font. So they're really big in comparison to lowercase letters. And to make it look right, I just cut ever so slightly less. And we'll jump in and show the dates being cut. Kind of a crummy angle on the camera. Keeps focusing on the dust collection. If y'all are wondering on my videos how badly my dust collection sucks, it's actually great, but when I do these videos, I want you to see it. So next step, I'm just burning all the light stripes. It gives it that antique effect, and you can actually make it look a little wavy. And gluing up. I glued up every piece individually. Uh, I think if you do all of them at once, you're just going to come out with a mess. If you're going to do that, I would suggest biscuits or dominoes. And this is just me setting up my dual keyholes. I find this is a great way to hang bigger flags. This one is pretty heavy and it goes down far enough that you got a really significant amount of wood for it to hang on. I run it twice, again, just keeping things cleaned up. And that's it. Final spray coat. One mistake I made earlier in the flag was that I used flat. The dark colors were flat and the stripe was gloss, but final gloss on the top, you can't tell. Looks good.